So I'm at the airport right now. As you can see behind me are planes. I don't know if you can see that. There are benefits to people being late to pick you up at the airport because I can do a video that I've wanted to do for a long time. And I hope after this video you will, number one, never give up, and number two, don't believe everything that you hear. So my story starts with missing my first plane. At least it's the first plane I remember missing. I live 4 hours from the airport, so the day before I ended up driving to my friend's house who lived only 20 minutes from the airport to spend the night with her and then go in the morning. So I did that. It's all packed and ready to go, and so I had nothing to worry about. It's the first time I was actually not rushing. I just felt very relaxed. So I ended up going to the park and fly, parked my car, got on the shuttle, got to the airport, and I went to the kiosk and I tried to check in my bag, and it wasn't working. And I tried and I tried and I tried. Finally an assistant came, and then I ended up going to the actual person, and so she was trying to check me in, and then she went away for a bit and she came back and then she said, "Sorry, you can't get on this flight." And I said, "What?" So long story short, I had missed the flight and I was just shocked. Like, I couldn't believe it because I thought I had plenty of time. So I was frustrated and I was like, "Please, is there something you can do? Can I just, walk to the gate?" And I knew, I've experienced anyways, that basically, if you talk to the manager, there are people that can, make changes. And so I tried to talk to the manager and they just were not budging. So I had no choice. And she was like, "I can put you on the next available flight." And so she went ahead and put me on the next flight, which instead of 6 a.m., which was the flight that I was catching, that I missed, she put me on a 2 p.m. flight. So I was like, what am I going to do at the airport for that amount of time? Like, that's a long time. So as I walked away, I was feeling really distraught, really stressed out. I would have lost my ride to where I needed to go because I was meeting people at the airport at my final destination, and I was really distraught. And so I ended up just walking to some benches nearby, and I dropped down on my knees and I started to pray. And normally I don't pray like on my knees in public like that. Usually I'm just talking to God all the time, and I was the whole time, but I felt the need to really be on my knees and just commune with my Lord. So I was communing with the Lord, asking His will to be done. There was a lady I was meeting at the airport that I promised I would help drive to the camp meeting. She was flying from the UK, and so she was going to be extremely tired and jet-lagged, and so I had said I would drive, and now I wasn't even going to make it there. So I was like, "Lord, if it's your will and I can go and I can help, and if I can be on time for the camp meeting, that would be lovely, but ultimately, Lord, I want your will." And so I surrendered it, and I felt like this huge relief, and I got up off my knees, and I was like, now what am I going to do? I have so much time, like, what am I going to do? And so then I was like, I should look and see if there's any other flights. Surely there must be another flight before 2 p.m. So I quickly got on the internet and I started searching, and I found one. And I was like, whoa, I gotta try to get on this flight. I could even catch my connecting flight, my original connecting flight from Chicago, and I was like, wow, maybe I can still get to my final destination on time. And so I quickly rushed back to the counter, and the same lady, she was occupied with someone else, and so I ended up talking to a different person, and he was scanning it, and he looked at the flight and he said, "Yes, you can catch this one, but the connection between that flight and the one you're catching in Chicago, like, you have no time at all. So you have to forfeit a hotel if you miss the connection, and you also have to forfeit your bags arriving at your final destination because the connecting flight is so tight." Literally, it was 1 minute. So my flight arrives at 3:44 p.m. but boarding ends at 3:45, so there's only 1 minute between. So if you're willing to do that, I can put you on this flight. And I said, yeah, sure, just put me on the flight. And I totally had to go with faith that God was going to get me there, and so I did. I surrendered my bags and hotels, and I didn't know where I was going to end up. And I got on that flight, and I talked to the pilot, and I asked them, like, I wanted to know exactly where to run to because I had no time when I got off that plane to catch the next plane. I had no time between. And so there's this cool app that I was using to show me the estimated arrival time, and with 52 minutes left in the flight, we were already going to be 19 minutes early, and when we actually landed, we were almost a half an hour early. So there was plenty of time. The plane landed, and I rushed out and I ran to my gate. And then right when I got there, they started loading, and I got on that plane and I caught my original connection, and I made it to the airport to meet the other lady and to help drive them to the camp meeting. And I was at the camp meeting on time, and I just remember thinking two things. And the first thing was, never give up. Like, you might seem like, oh, this is loss, or this is failure, or it didn't work out, but never give up. Number two is, don't believe everything you hear. You know, the lady told me that was the best she could do, but don't just take people's word for it. Search, dig for yourself, find out if there's something better. And I guess the most important thing too was realizing that I had to surrender. Like, I had to surrender my bags, and sometimes we hold on to things and we're not able to go where God wants us to go because we're holding on to what we want. But really, when I had arrived at the airport, my baggage made it as well, because we arrived half an hour early, and so there was enough time for the baggage to transfer. So often when we let go of what we want, God gives it back to us anyways. He just wants to know that we trust Him. So I pray that this video is a blessing, and that you will remember to never give up. Don't believe everything you hear, and trust in God, and surrender, let go, and let God lead you to where He wants you to be. God bless, and I hope you have a wonderful week, day, month, year. Ciao.